It's been a little while since I've recorded one of these train videos, but I think in the last one, um, I just had some fun interactions with some peculiar fellows, and now we're just getting into Winnipeg. Uh, Normally, I have notes and everything written down for these stories, but yeah, I kept losing them, so I'm just kind of winging it. I went to sleep decently early the night before. The train was supposed to get into Winnipeg around 2. Even with all the delays and everything, it was supposed to get to Winnipeg at 2 in the morning. And my great uncle Peter was saying that he would be able to pick me up at the train station. All I had to do was call him and ask him. Uh, I ended up waking up around 5, and I looked out the window, and it looked pretty gloomy and didn't look like we were anywhere near Winnipeg. So without looking at my map, I was pretty sure that it was just going to be a little while longer. Surprisingly, it actually wasn't. We got into Winnipeg by about 6, I think. And getting off the train, there was a woman who was talking to some guy who was just getting into. This is his first time in Winnipeg. She says, "Oh yes, Winnipeg's a lovely and beautiful city, but it can be a bit dangerous at nighttime, especially around the legislation building. Do not go there at night." And this is Winnipeg, and yeah, well, I don't know. I've always loved Winnipeg. I've loved everything about the city for a long time. It's really cool. I think all the old buildings are awesome, and getting into the Winnipeg station, it was definitely by far the nicest station that I had seen this far. And I mean, there's reasons for that, but anyways, yeah, getting out into the platform is this nice raised platform, and you could see out over the forks, and there's just this great view of the Human Rights Museum, and I love that building. It is so cool. I just love everything about Winnipeg. Most of the things about Winnipeg. And anyways, yeah, so get to look at the Human Rights Museum, and I go down into the train station, and I didn't even really get to see the cool parts yet, because that train station is super cool. But I call up my Uncle Peter, and he says, "Oh, yeah, for sure. I'll be right there. I'll just meet you in the parking lot behind the train station." And that was great for me because that means I get to go and look at the Human Rights Museum more. And I took a couple pictures, and I swear just after I took those pictures, the sky just turned black. Like within a matter of minutes, it went black, and it was raining so hard. It's harder than I've ever seen rain, I think. Like it was some crazy rain. And I heard some people talking over my shoulder saying, "Oh yeah, this rain came from the west." And if you remember from a couple episodes ago, I experienced some crazy hard rain coming from Edmonton as well, so that storm was following me. And anyways, so I wait around for a little while, and there's no sign of Peter. It had been maybe 15, 20 minutes or so, and Peter gives me a call, and he says, "Hey, yeah, Christian, I'm still coming. I'm still gonna come get you. Just my car was towed, so just give me a little while. How about you meet me at the original Pancake House?" That was funny to me because every single time I am in Winnipeg and I'm meeting up with my great uncle Peter, we always meet at the original Pancake House in the Forks. And actually, I think I got a picture of last time I was in Winnipeg, and I met there with him and my great grandmother. So yeah, I ran through this crazy rain. I was instantly soaked, and I got to the Forks, and it had only just opened at 6, I think. And I don't think I've ever seen the Forks that empty. It was kind of neat to me. I mean, that place was legendary throughout my childhood. Like, hey, yeah, whenever in Winnipeg, we always go to the Forks, and every time it was always just packed, and it's this cool sort of international style like market. There's tons of different shops and little eateries and whatnot, and I really enjoy it there. But it was empty, and it was surreal to me, to say the least. And I made my way over to the Pancake House. There were a couple of girls there who were getting some breakfast, and they were getting back on the train. They invited me to come sit with them because they recognized me from the train, and they came and they got their food and they left. And I sat and I drank a couple coffees, and Peter came and he offered to buy me whatever I wanted, and he told me the story. And yeah, he if you haven't been following the story up into this point, I originally came on this wild journey, and I specifically wanted to stop in Winnipeg because my great grandmother was ill and she was in the hospital, and Peter was taking it kind of rough. He was telling me the story of what happened the night before, and he apparently well, he was just kind of trying to take a nap. He stopped in a parking lot, which happened to be the legislature building, and he tried to take a nap, and he had his windows open, and somebody stole his brand new $300 headphones. And then he made his way back to the hospital, where he slept in a chair next to my great grandmother. And eventually I called him, and he gets up and he thinks that it's actually 2 in the morning, because of how dark it was. I mentioned that the sky became like black, and yeah, he said that he thought that it was still midnight or 2 in the morning. And he goes out to see his car, and his car was just gone. So we had to go talk to the security officer, and the security officer just looks at him and says, "That's a bus lane. This happens all the time. You're gonna have to go get that car unimpounded." So he had to take a cab, which cost him a couple $100. Then he had to pay for the towing fee, which was another couple $100. Then he had to pay for the impound fee, which was another couple $100. And he wasn't doing so hot at this moment, and he still offered to buy me breakfast, which I was really happy with. And yeah, no, I always liked Peter. He's so positive all the time. After breakfast, we made our way over to my great aunt Gwen's house, Peter's sister, because she offered to let me stay there as long as I needed to. And we went there, and she wasn't home. She was working at the time, and same with her husband, my great uncle Jerry. We fumbled over the lock for a little while, and we got in. And yeah, there was a whole cleaning crew in there at the time. And Peter and I kind of looked at each other and laughed and said, "Oh yeah, talk about living in the lap of luxury, right?" And yeah, I went and I used the washroom, and we sort of sat in the living room where they were already done cleaning. And eventually Jerry came home and paid them, and they went off. And Gwen came home, and she had to go for a nap. And Peter went back to the hospital to stay with Gigi for a little while longer. And Jerry and I got to talking for a little while. We went for a little motorcycle ride, and he actually gave me this microphone that I'm using right now. And yeah, that was all great. And I got to sit and I played on my phone for a little while. And once Gwen was up, she offered to take me for a little drive around the city, just kind of let me see the sights, because last time I was there, I would have been 19, and we were just driving through. And before that, I would have just been too young to really be able to appreciate the city. So she took me, and we drove down all through the Exchange District, which is just so beautiful. So many cool old buildings, and just incredible. So we get to the hospital, and of course Peter was there, and he was sitting next to Gigi, and I'm pretty sure he was actually reading her a book at the time. Yeah, normally Gigi is super chipper and with it, and she was still super with it, but you know, Peter was in a real state. He was sitting there going like, "No, Mom, it's okay, Mom. You're gonna make it through this. You're gonna survive. It's nothing." And she would say stuff like, "Peter, I'm dying," which was really kind of heartbreaking to see, because normally she always had these really high spirits, and at this point she wasn't feeling as positive about everything, which was really, really hard to see. But she was really happy that I came to visit, and you know, we hung out for a little while, and eventually Gwen and I went back to her place, and we stopped for some hot dogs. Got some hot dogs with the works on it for everybody that was back at the house. My cousin Luke was there. He was helping do some renovations on the house, and his dad as well. And yeah, we came by. We had these hot dogs, and it was great. And we sat out and ate them. And yeah, no, it was really just nice and pleasant to be able to hang out with everybody. And I was really appreciating being able to visit with my family again, and all these great things. Then I looked at my Via Rail app and looked at when the next train to Churchill was. Churchill is a very far northern area. It's the farthest north that Via Rail can take you. And I figured that, hey, let's do it. Let's take the train. And the next train was leaving the next day around noon. So I talked to Jerry, and Jerry said, "Yeah, you can bring me to the train station around noon. No problem." Yeah, so then I got to go to sleep, and I had a room and a nice bed. I actually got to sleep on a bed. And the past 2 nights I wasn't sleeping on a bed, and before that I was sleeping on a couch. So having an actual bed was fantastic. And in the morning, went to the train station, and I showed up early. I showed up, I think, 2 hours early this time, just because that train station is beautiful, and I wanted to have a chance to really take it in. So I go in, and yeah, well, first off, it's a super awesome old building, and the interior is super cool as well. It's this nice big domed ceiling, and I'm walking towards where the entrance to the platform is to get onto the trains. And then I see a sign saying, "Hey, train museum now open." And I like museums. And at that point, I was pretty enthusiastic about trains. So yeah, I went in there, and I think it was only like $5 for me to go in there as a student. And then, yeah, I went around, and there was some really awesome trains. And I remember this is actually when I took my official selfie for this day. I took it earlier on in the day than usual. And yeah, because it was just really awesome train. I was like, yeah, I think this is the angle. And I took a cool selfie with this really, really cool old train. And yeah, you get to walk around, and you even get to go onto all the trains, and they're all super cool and old. And this is some seats that you can sit in. Well, at least it seemed like you could. I didn't stop me. I didn't really question it. I was just like, hey, I think I can get on that. And I'd go onto it, and I'd sit down in the chairs, and I would touch some things that I wasn't supposed to touch. And I was just having a great time. And then yeah, there was also this really weird one thing that really stuck with me is, yeah, there's just this little CRT TV with like an old, it looked like an old ad for Via Rail or just trains in general. And I don't know, I thought it was funny, so I don't know, I got a little clip of it. And
one way you can help me. Take me away. There's nothing to keep us here.
there are these, I noticed on one part of it, there was a big box of books that said, 4 for $1. And I thought, no way. And as I was on my way out, because, I took in the museum for probably longer than I should have, because I figured that, hey, the train's going to be late anyways, I can just take my time. I took a lot of really gorgeous pictures of this area of the train museum. If you're ever in Winnipeg, I definitely recommend checking out this train museum. So yeah, getting out of there, just before the exit, like on my way out, there was another big box that said books 4 for $1, and I was looking through them, and yeah, I bought 4 of them, and I felt like I got out of there like a bandit, because looking at some of these books, they're like, some of these are dated back to the 1800s. Like, some of these books are well over 100 years old, almost 200 years old on some of them. And yeah, no, I felt like I got out of that freaking train station like a robber, because I was like, these books are 4 for $1? No way. And they're, yeah, and they probably have hundreds of them, but still, these 4 books for $1 feels like holding on to a piece of history. I feel like it's hard to go through them because I don't want to break the spine. Anyways, and then I went down to the platform entrance, and there was actually a lineup. I was surprised. I was like, oh, wait, the train's on time. And yeah, there was a person giving us a big spiel about getting up to the train and everything. And we get up to the train, and getting onto the train. Apparently, I was supposed to talk to a desk and show them my app to show them that I had the ticket, and they're actually going to give me a physical ticket. Because apparently the route that goes up to Churchill, the adventure routes, they're apparently like as close to the old Via Rail system that you can get, because nowadays you just get it on the app and then you scan the app and whatnot. You don't need to have a physical ticket. But apparently these ones are all run just like they would have been back in the day, which is pretty cool. Yeah, anyways, the guy was really nice about it. He was like, oh, don't worry about it. He looked through his books, and he saw that it was me, and I just took my word for it, I guess. And so yeah, and then I started chilling out, and I got a nice little 4-seated area, and there were a couple people across from me that I started kind of talking to, and there was another guy who was making his rounds, and he sort of said that, hey, if this train fills up, can I come and sit with you? Because that way we can at least get, a 4-seater between the two of us instead of needing to cramp together. And I was, yeah, sure, that sounds good. And yeah, we all started chatting and being friends, and the train was off. Yeah, I was just kind of, I didn't know what to expect. This was the first time I'd been heading so far north. And I mean, it's not even relatively that far north, but in Manitoba, that's about as far north as you can get. And yeah, I was heading off into the unknown, and I didn't have any money left. I had like $100. and I didn't have any money for a hotel in Churchill, so off we went. And I think that this is enough talking for this one. I hope that everybody enjoyed, and if you did, thank you for watching. And yeah, if you made it this far, thanks.